Welcome to the Sunset Park podcast. I am your host, Rob Aguilar. On today's episode, we're joined by Theresa Monforte-Caraballo. She is the founder of Grandma's Love. Grandma's Love is an organization that empowers children by combating childhood hunger and promoting literacy. But before we get started, I would like to tell you about our sponsor for today's episode, and they are Barbone Life. Over at Barbone Life, they make amazing men's natural grooming products that are cruelty-free and paraben-free. Now, when you use the promo code Sunset Park, you get a 10% discount. Now, if you live in zip codes 11220, 11232, 11215, and 11209, you get free next day delivery. Now, make sure you check them out over at barbonelife.com. That's BARBONLIFE.com. Now, Grandma's Love does a lot of important work here in Sunset Park, and I'd like to welcome Theresa to the podcast. Theresa, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon.
So, Theresa, Grandma's Love, you empower children by combating hunger. Tell us a little bit about the work that Grandma's Love does here in the community in Sunset Park.
Well, we've been in Sunset Park since 2014, and we have been delivering backpacks of non-perishable food to children that face food insecurity. We've worked at PS 503 and 506 for most of those years. And my thing is, when children are fed, they're happy. And when they're happy, they can come to school and learn. And when they learn, they grow. Food is not just something that we absolutely need for nourishment, but our brain needs it, our body needs it, and children really need it.
Now, how did the idea for Grandma's Love come about? When did you decide you wanted to take this important issue on?
In 2012, I kind of hit the bottom of a barrel. I lost my job, I lost my unemployment, I was getting evicted. I was really in a bad place. And I was watching TV one day and I saw a show about an organization called Blessings in a Backpack. So I gave them a call and I volunteered with them. And that's when we actually started 2013 with Blessings in a Backpack. And that was a program that fed a child. And I sat back and I'm like, well, we can't really feed a child because at home there are more children. So I did that for about 2 years to get the hang of it. And then I decided that I needed more than that. And I couldn't get any funding because it wasn't a New York-based organization. So I was actually in college at the time, and I was doing a project for a class. And I wrote out a plan based on the Blessings program, except for I did it to feed a family. And I added the literacy component to it.
Now, you said you lost your job. What were you doing at that point? What were you doing before losing that job?
I was an assistant teacher, a teacher assistant in charter school in Staten Island.
Mm.
I did kindergarten and second grade. I had gotten injured, so I had to leave. And then I was working in a real estate office as just a receptionist. And I really couldn't, I had a lot of medical issues that caused pain, so I couldn't really function well. So all that really impacted me. And it made me sit down and really think about myself and others that were in that situation. At that time, getting evicted gave me a whole new perspective on things. I had to go down to social services. I had to deal with other agencies. And I sat back to realize that I'm a very strong person, even when I'm like scrounging at the bottom of a barrel. What about the people that are not that strong? What about how do we help them? So when I got myself out of my situation, I went in and Grandma's Love came about. I did the paperwork. I scrounged together the $1,000 that I needed. And I just continued and went forward. And I started in a local school here in Bay Ridge. And then the principal, actually the social worker, Maria Garcia from 503, reached out to me and said, "Can you help our kids?" And I went, I had a meeting, and I said, "I can't do it right now, but let's talk for September." And that's what we did. And we started September of 2014 at PS 503. We started
Wow.
with 20 families.
And you continue to, is that the amount of families you're currently helping there now?
No, we have 75 now.
Wow. So you started with 20 and now you're helping 75 families.
Right.
Amazing. And so let's backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
Um, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Brooklyn?
I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up on Douglas between 4th and 5th Avenue, right up the block from the Douglas Park. I went to Catholic elementary school, but I went to John Jay High School. I am I'm more of a street smarts kid as opposed to a book smarts kid. I have the education, but the street taught me more than I would ever learn in a book. Um, and I really, growing up down there opened me up to everyone in the world. It made me look at different cultures, different families. My friends came from all over the place. So it gave me a very, very broad perspective on how different people live.
It's interesting because a lot of people that I know that grew up in Brooklyn, and whether it was in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even today, um, there's a certain level of education that you can get by growing up in Brooklyn. Let's take away
Hmm.
the academic aspect of things, but I am forever grateful for growing up in Brooklyn and for growing up in Sunset Park because, like you touched on before, you're exposed to a very large group of people from different diverse backgrounds. And then on top of that, the street smarts that you learned from growing up in Brooklyn, it completely gives you an edge over anyone, anywhere. And I am such a big advocate of that because there was a time when I considered, along with my wife, to leave Brooklyn, right? Or to leave the neighborhood. And then we started talking about our experiences growing up in the neighborhood. And we're like, it was such a rich upbringing, right? Maybe not rich financially or with money or with luxuries, but it was rich because of the kids we grew up with
Hmm.
and the experiences we had playing in the street, hanging out in the stoops. And then on top of that, you add an academic education
Hmm.
and you become unstoppable. And that sounds like the experience that you also had. You learned a lot in the streets, and you cannot ever take away the value of growing up with that Brooklyn street edge, which I like to call it. And I'm sure that comes in handy today in the work that you're doing in the dealing with all the intricacies of perhaps the government and trying to get grants and trying to get all these different things to operate. I think you have an edge over everyone else.
You do because you can listen to the words that the people in government are telling you, but you actually hear what they're saying and they're not the same. Sometimes their hands are tied and sometimes it's just how they respond. There are people in government who really want to help you, and then there are people in government that just go along with the script. And to me, sometimes that's really frustrating because I'm kind of either you can do it or you can't do it. Just give me the answer either way, and then let me move on to my next, way of getting things done. So I deal with that a lot. And it's kind of sad because I take everyone most of the time at their word, and then I find out something different at times. But again, it's another life lesson. So
Yeah. So you said you went to John Jay, and then did
yeah.
you go straight to college after that?
No, I didn't. I
Where did you
didn't.
after that?
I wanted to go away to college. My mom said no. So I got married. I had kids. you know, um And it wasn't until I already had 3 kids that I decided that I needed um, to figure out what I was going to do with my life because I wasn't happy in my life. We had an up and down type of marriage. Some days were great, some days were not. And I say that, I say I've lived in the shoes of a lot of the families that I service, and that's really true. I do understand what goes on in their households and sometimes how dangerous it can be, and sometimes how great it can be. So I went to college, I went to Kingsborough, and I started early childhood education. So I was 2 classes away from graduation and I had to drop out. So I dropped out, and 21 years later, I went back to finish those 2 classes.
Wow.
At that point, my kids were grown, but then I had custody of my grandchild. So I was starting all over, but I enjoyed every minute of it. And then from there, I went to Brooklyn College. So I did early childhood special ed, and I continued in the education and then dropped it at Brooklyn and continued in something called children's studies. It is where you learn how to fight and advocate for the rights of children all over. And that really interested me. And that is where I had professors that pushed me beyond my limits. And that's where Grandma's Love really blossomed from.
Hmm. And from those experiences, and it seems like you've overcome a lot of obstacles in your life to get where you are. Out of all those things, out of going to college and getting a degree, out of raising your grandchild, those are all important accomplishments. Um, what accomplishment, if you could pick one, are you most proud of?
The smile on a child's face when they receive a new backpack in September, or that Christmas gift that we bring them, as little as it may be, um, or a mom when she comes to get her Thanksgiving turkey and that bag of food. That smile on their face just says it all, and it makes it all worthwhile.
Now, doing this work is difficult because actually, before we went on the air, you were telling me about the intricacies of navigating and getting funding for these programs. And do you rely mostly on private donations? Is it donations from grants? How do you fund Grandma's Love?
We basically rely on the good hearts of people. We rely on the donations. I do get grants. I look for every grant I can possibly write. Some I get, some I do not. Um, if we get $10,000 a year in grants, that's a lot of money, and it doesn't go that far. But we have learned how to stretch a dollar so far that it even sometimes amazes us. Um, right now, we're kind of in trouble. The state has decided that they would freeze all of the funds to any organization. And so they're actually holding a little over $8,000 of our money that we've already spent. And we're relying on getting that back to continue, especially now that school has started. I don't see that coming anytime soon because the city's waiting for the state's waiting for the federal government's waiting for the president. Everybody's waiting, but meanwhile, all of the little organizations that do the most work are shutting down one by one. And I don't mean they're closing forever. I just mean that they don't have the ability to now do what they've been doing so well.
Hmm. Yeah, it's sounds like it's extremely frustrating because now, especially during a pandemic, when parents are out of work, when kids are home, is when you would need the help that you're providing the most. And for
Mhm.
them to hold funding, is mind-boggling. It doesn't make any sense at all. How do you how do you keep it going, right? With all these obstacles and not get discouraged because you seem very encouraged to keep going forward. How do you find that energy to not give up?
I'm I'm a fighter. I refuse to be defeated. It's going to take a lot. And there are days, yeah, there are days I'm really sad and depressed, and I don't know what I'm going to do. But I refuse to close my doors. I refuse to tell someone I can't help them. Um, and I kind of pray. I mean, I have to say, God has been really good. When I least expect it, something happens, something shows up, something comes through. Um, and I'm grateful for that. I can tell you that during COVID, um, my friends from PS 503 were phenomenal. Phenomenal. The school raised over $18,000 for
Mm,
us to help feed their families.
nice.
And I mean, that just gave me tears. And there are many people I need to thank for helping us, and too many to even mention. But I am grateful for everything that does come our way. And I pray all the time that it just keeps going, because I don't think I could face the children, and not have anything for them.
Mm. And how can the community help Grandma's Love? Can we volunteer? Can we donate? How can we get other folks involved so that we can help the children?
Donations are the best way. Our office is very, very tiny. It's probably about 350 square feet. So having a lot of people come in and out has been, really difficult, especially during the pandemic. Um, Donations are the best way. We have our website. We take PayPal, Venmo, Google Pay, all of those things. They can even sell it through Chase. They can do Amazon and order food and have it sent to our office if they choose. Um, they can pick up food and give us a call and let us know that they have non-perishable foods. We do have a list of certain items that we only use, because it doesn't go bad, and it's we're able to put it in a backpack for a kid. Um, so those are the best ways. We were hoping to move to a larger location to do more work. Um, we're still hoping that we'll be able to do that. Someone was in conversations with a big firm in the city to help underwrite our costs. Those conversations haven't really produced anything as of yet. And I know all these things take time, so I'm hoping that's still going to happen. Um, but if we're able to move into a larger space, we're able to offer more. We're able to offer those literacy classes, and have people come in and volunteer and help people with paperwork that they may not understand, that we do understand. So donations right now is the best way to do it.
Okay. And if how do we get that? Is it through the website? Is that the best way to go?
The best way is through the website. When you click on donate now, you'll see a bunch of boxes, and they do have dollar amounts in them. There is a box that says other amount. Any amount helps, because we try to manage our backpacks to give the most at the cheapest price that we can spend on it. Um, and through that, so even if you gave $5, that would pack half a backpack, which
Mm.
is, pretty good, because right now our backpacks, since we're back to a regular program, will have rice, beans, mac and cheese, cereal. They may have tuna or chicken in them, or they'll have spaghetti and sauce. They always have canned vegetables in them. And any other treats that get sent our way, we send right home. We do purchase new books. We try to get the children to at least get new reading material for themselves to keep. We do also work with real estate offices um, in purchasing those books that we give to the children. We also work with another lady who works for a company called One Hope, and they have very special different bottles of wine and stuff. And we can be named as the organization to receive a 10% donation from One Hope itself. So, people who need to give a gift, like a real estate agent, there's a beautiful bottle that says Home Sweet Home. They can purchase that as a gift for a new home buyer, and yet Grandma's Love can benefit from the donation the company will give us. So we have a few things like that go on. But our
Very
best
nice.
way is through the website.
So give us that website so we make sure that people can visit the website and help out.
It is www.grandmasloveinc.org.
Okay, so it's Grandma's Love
Inc.
Inc.
Right.
.org.
Inc.org.
And very important, when they get there, look for that donate button.
Donate button and look for the one that says other amount.
Okay, fantastic. This is very important work that you're doing, Theresa. Thank you so much for doing it for our community. I think something that sticks in my mind right now about what you just said is to see a child smile when you give them a gift, right? Whether it's food in their backpack or a gift during the holiday season. I think there's no price, right, for that. And if
It
people in our
isn't.
community who are able to do so, I would invite them to please visit the website. Please make a donation. You're helping families. You're helping a child. You're bringing a smile to a child, and that's something very small. If we can make a donation, it'll go a long way. So I invite everyone to please go over to grandmasloveinc.org and make a donation. Theresa, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your story, your experiences, and the work that you do in this community.
Thank you, Rob. I really appreciate you getting the word out about us. We're really proud to be in Sunset Park. We're in 4 schools: PS 503, 506, 939, and 936. So I look forward to staying there and helping more and more families.
And we are hopeful that people will donate and help out, and we would love to do everything that we can to help you do the work that you do in this community. Now, I'd like to invite you all to our next episode next Friday, where we will have candidate for City Council Yulin joining us. We're going to sit down with him and talk about why he is running, his vision for the district, and the different issues that he would like to take on should he become our next council member. So make sure you come by next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, Theresa, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it. I look
And thank you.
forward to seeing you soon.
Likewise, likewise. And again, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you very much and have a great afternoon.
You too. Bye.